Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to be doing an in the bag for the 2025 season. To start off, I'll be bagging the Icon bag again from Discology Disc Golf. Go over to discologydiscgolf.com and use code Kramer10 on the checkout to get a discount. They got Izzo bags, which I previously rocked. They've got the OG V2, and then they got my personal favorite, which is the Icon. So head on over there and check them out. I'm just gonna do the pockets first, and then I'll do like the big main pocket last. Starting here, I'm gonna be bagging a Lunar War Spear. This thing is pretty straight, so it's the closest thing to a berg. It's not a berg. Next, we're gonna go Organic Hemp Blend Devil Hawk. This thing is not as overstable as I thought it was gonna be, but it is beefy enough to where it holds up in wind and everything like that. So, Devil Hawk. Next, we got an oldie but a goodie. It was in the bag all last year. It is the AGL Baobab. With AGL's recent news about departing from Gateway, so these things are going to be discontinued for now. But yeah, this thing is still going to be in the bag. It's a bit warped, but I threw this one a lot last year, and I probably will end up doing it again this year. Moving on, we have a Proto Ghoul. I absolutely love this thing. This is a brand new mold in the Gateway lineup. It is an overstable approach disc. Starts out really overstable, but beats into a nice, good, great flight. This is gonna be one of my main throwers, if not probably my main thrower for approach shots. And this will be what I will be putting with this year until further notice and until I decide to change my mind. But I'm gonna be putting with the Sure Grip Devil Hawk. Yes, I'm putting with a Devil Hawk. I know how ridiculous that sounds, but I like the way it feels. As far as how it puts very similar to what I was using last year. So, and feel-wise, it's not too far off either. But yes, I'll be putting with a Sure Grip Devil Hawk. Moving on to the mids. Starting off, we're gonna go a NXT Morningstar. I don't see myself throwing this all the time, but I'll definitely be throwing it whenever I need something straight. Probably, I would say, hopefully about 250 feet. So, Morningstar. Got a Organic Hemp Prophecy. It's very rare for me to have a 0-2 mold fly with little to no wobble or at least come out smooth. And this thing came out smooth from the get-go. So I'll probably be throwing this a lot along with what I'm probably about to pull out next. But this was going to be my main thrown mid probably. If it's not, it's going to be the next one. But Prophecy. The Beach from AGL. Another discontinued mold. I threw this a lot last year. A lot's an understatement, but I threw this a lot last year on tour, and I like how it flies, so it stayed in the bag regardless of how beat in it is. But Beach from AGL. I have also another brand new one of the same run, which is, in this case, it's the Baseline Glow Plastic. This one pretty much hasn't been thrown a whole lot. It's, like I said, pretty much brand new. And honestly, I forgot how overstable these things are when they first start out. They're fantastic. So yeah, I'll bag two ones. I'll bag a beat up one from last year, and then I'll bag a brand new one from this year. So again, Beach. Moving on, I'm gonna go from this side to that side because honestly, that's how it is. All my fairways are there except for the very first one I'm about to pull out. My roller disc this year that I'm working on still replacing is gonna be the Gateway Aura, specifically in the NXT plastic. Moving on, so now we have pretty much all the fairways going straight across. And I think these pretty much range from flippiest to most overstable. So the flippiest one here is we have an NXT Odyssey. This is gonna be that flippy fairway mold that I use where I need something to hold over and not necessarily come back. Pretty much a straight turnover the entire way. But this thing is incredibly flippy, so NXT Odyssey is in my bag. Next one is, I believe this is the first run, or at least the Proto Odyssey. And I don't actually know what plastic this is specifically, but this is a lot more overstable compared to the NXT run. These are gonna be, if I need something to turn, but I still want it to come back a little bit at the end. Yeah, this is the Proto. Great disc, but don't really know how much I'll be throwing this one, to be honest. We've got one of my favorite discs that I like to throw in the woods, a Spear. This is gonna be used also for turnover shots, but this is mainly kind of for flip to flat, and we're looking for a very, very, very slow turn on this one, which that's what that does. I use this a lot in the woods, especially over the Beast. There's a couple holes over there where I need something long, probably about 300 to 350 feet, that needs to kind of go straight and just slowly drift left. Yeah, that's gonna be this disc right here. So the Spear, and this is in the diamond plastic. We have the Diamond Assassin. So this is kind of that straight fairway slot that I need. Pretty much dead straight, flips to flat, should be the only thing it does. Gateway, Diamond, Assassin. Moving on, we have something I'm very glad is finally back in the bag, and it is a Hooligan Disc Thread. I've already thrown this a lot. I've thrown this in tournament already. This thing holds up great. This run, and this one manufactured by Gateway, is actually more overstable starting out than the ones previously made from other manufacturers. I'm excited for this one. Can't wait to have it back. And stay tuned, because something might be coming in the future with this disc. Next one, we have the Trash Panda ET. Yeah, I don't really know. It's hard to explain as to why I like this thing. This thing is actually sick, and it's a little bit more overstable than what people think. Feel-wise, I always like to grip it on the thicker side, and when I throw it, it pretty much just goes dead straight but fades. If I really rip on it and I throw it wrong, it'll turn, but I pretty much don't know how much I'll throw it, but this needs to be in the bag. So, Trash Panda ET. NXT Blaze. This thing off the rip was very overstable. This almost acted like a Firebird right out the gate for me. It's beat in now, so it goes a lot straighter than it does, but this thing was a lot more overstable than it first came out the box. I actually throw this thing a lot for 7-speeds. Haven't really thrown a ton of 7-speeds in the past, but this one has somehow found its way into a special place in my heart, so I've been throwing it a lot. So next we actually have two of the same molds, but it's a blade. Not a blaze, a blade. Like a knife, like stab. This one is an old one, old test flight, and this one's, I wouldn't say newer, but it's more recent. Starting out, this was supposed to be really overstable, and it was, and then it got ran over by a car on my first throw. So, it flips now. If any disc is in jeopardy of leaving my bag at some point this year, it's probably this one, just so I can replace it with something else. But that's the flippy one that got ran over. So there's the black one, and then the blue one is also Hybrid Diamond. It's pretty straight. Like I said, my Blaze was probably more overstable than this, and by probably it was. That being said though, this can get me a little bit more extra distance than the Blaze can, so I pretty much have it in the bag for that reason. It's gonna be the same kind of slot, but if I needed to push a little bit further, probably like say 352, 375, I'm probably gonna pull out the Blade. So, Blade. Next, an Apache in a Hyper Diamond plastic. Now, along with the Prophecy, this has got to be one of the most underrated molds I've ever thrown. On to the distance drivers, but on first, we got to do Beefy Boy first, and this is the Diamond Spirit, and this thing is board flat. This thing is absolutely insane. I found that overstable slot that I was looking for, and I know that this will be pretty much one of my go-to approach discs if I'm on like a par 4 or something like that. So, Diamond Spirit. Next, we've got 3 extremely different flights, but all the same mold. We have 3 different realms here. These are going to be my bomber molds when I'm going for distance. Got one of the cobalt plastic, super domey. This thing is incredibly understable. It flips like crazy. I can hyzer flip this thing, and if I'm not careful, it might actually still turn into a roller. The next one is still a little bit puddle topped, or not puddle topped, a little bit domey. And it's got a weird little, like the parting line up here. So it's not as understable as that one, but it's still very understable. This is actually the NXT plastic, so not the cobalt plastic, but NXT plastic. So this is one of the same things where if I need like something that turns, but if I want something to come back, I'm throwing this one instead of the blue one. And then the last one, this is an old, I say old run. This is NXT plastic Realm, and it was the Dreamweaver run. This one is probably the closest thing to a destroyer that I've ever seen. Those two are on the understable side. This one's what I would call a pretty good overstable destroyer. Not real overstable, but it's like a good, what I would say, workable destroyer. I'll throw this one, out of all the 3, I'll definitely throw this one the most. It holds up in some wind, but it can't get anything kind of crazy. It won't hold up a lot. NXT Realm. Moving on, we have an NXT Ether. This run specifically is way more overstable than what the numbers are going to tell you, which is what I love personally. Yeah, this thing's incredible though. This run specifically is sick, but an NXT Ether. Next, we have 2 of the main throwers and that I've already been throwing, and they're going to continue to stay main throwers. Spells, that is, yes. Captain Corey's run, and they are absolutely sick. So I've got a rainbow one, and then I've got a Gryffindor colored stamp one that he picked out for me. So huge shout out to Corey, first off, for that, thank you. But this run specifically is absolutely money, so thank you, Corey. So next, we actually have the Speed Demon. This will get thrown a little bit. I don't really know how often it'll get thrown, considering this one's beat in specifically. The numbers are insanely close to the Realm. The only difference is, in my opinion, is the Realm is actually like kind of on the understable side for that overstable 12-speed slot. Meanwhile, the Speed Demon is overstable as hell. So Platinum Speed Demon. Very last one that is in the bag is, well, it's the proto run of it, but it is the NXT Javelin. As soon as I threw it, I put it right in the bag and it has not left since. It is overstable, and it's more overstable than the Speed Demon and, in my opinion, the Spells, and it just doesn't go as far. I believe this is a 13 speed and it's a true 13 speed. I could be wrong, but this feels, yeah, it feels like a true 13 speed NXT Javelin. That is currently everything in my bag, so just by looking at it, I'm going to be bagging 5 putters, 4 mids, and 1, 2, 3, 18, 19, 20 drivers. All this is subject to change because realistically, I lose discs, I throw them in the water all the time, so that's great. The goal is to have about 90% of these by the end of the year, and hopefully I don't beat them in too bad. If you or somebody you know wants to check out any of the molds shown here or any of the ones not shown here, head over to gatewaydiscsports.com and use code CK10 for 10% off your checkout. They got a lot of good stuff. I promise you'll like it if you test out at least one of the molds. For now, that's all I got for you guys, and thanks for watching.